In the future, people rate each other from 1 to 5, and the lower the rating, the higher the chances of ending up in prison. A girl named Lacey Pound lives in a future world where people rate each other on a scale of 1 to 5 after any interaction. Those who receive high ratings can afford a much more comfortable life than those with low ratings. One day, Lacey finds a way to boost her rating, but things don't go as planned. In the morning, during her run, Lacey keeps giving everyone she knows 5 stars, hoping they'll return the favor. Her current rating is 4.2, and she is obsessed with high scores, which open up new opportunities and elevate her social status. Returning home, where she lives with her brother Ryan, Lacey practices a friendly smile and pleasant laugh in front of the mirror to appeal to others. Special sensors in her eyes allow everyone to see each other's ratings instantly. Ryan, on the other hand, is much less concerned about his rating, which is only 3.7, and simply enjoys life. Lacey reminds him that they have to move out soon since their lease expires in 4 weeks, and asks him to dress more appropriately for their meeting with potential buyers of their home. Later, Lacey heads to a cafe, where all the patrons are preoccupied with rating each other. She orders coffee and a cookie, and she and the barista exchange 5-star ratings. Sitting at a table, she tries her order and doesn't like it at all. But Lacey still takes a cute photo and posts it on social media, gathering more 5-star ratings from her friends. Lacey then heads to work. In the elevator, she meets her acquaintance Bets, who has an impressive rating of 4.6. They exchange a few meaningless phrases and keep laughing foolishly, trying hard to appear friendly in the quest for high ratings. Afterward, Lacey starts her work, and her colleague Chester, whose rating recently dropped to 3.1 due to an argument with a more influential coworker, approaches her. He's trying to rebuild his reputation and offers free cocktails to colleagues in exchange for good ratings. Lacey happily takes a cocktail and gives him 5 stars, but another coworker explains that the team has decided to boycott Chester. Lacey nods understandingly, then notices her colleagues rating her poorly for interacting with the outcast. In the afternoon, Ryan calls Lacey and informs her that the buyers are ready to purchase their house. Lacey has been looking for a new, more luxury place for a while, so she heads to the upscale residential complex Pelican Cove. The realtor shows Lacey all the benefits of a smart home and warns her that she needs to make a decision quickly because there are many interested buyers. Lacey immediately declares that she likes the house, but the rental cost unpleasantly surprises her. The realtor tells Lacey about a special referral program, but
do I qualify for that? No, you don't.
It turns out that this program offers a 20% discount on rent, but only for those with a rating of 4.5 and above. Lacey returns home, hoping to raise her rating quickly so she can rent her dream home. She scrolls through the profiles of her acquaintances with ratings of 4.8, giving them 5 stars in the hopes they will reciprocate. Ryan, however, is skeptical of his sister's desire to move to Pelican Cove, which is designed for wealthier and more prestigious tenants. The next day, Lacey consults with a rating advisor, Hanson Davis, to get advice on how to achieve the desired 4.5 rating. He notes that while Lacey has a generally positive trend, it may take her about 1.5 years to reach 4.5. Lacey anxiously points out that she needs it much sooner. The consultant explains that her rating is growing slowly because she is getting ratings from her low-rated inner circle. However, a boost from high ratings from high-rated acquaintances could help her make a significant leap. The next day, Lacey acts even more artificially friendly and continues to send out hundreds of 5-star ratings. At the entrance to work, she encounters Chester, whose rating has dropped to 2.4, preventing him from entering the building. Chester asks Lacey to walk in with him, but she runs away in fear, afraid of getting low ratings from her colleagues again. In the elevator, she runs into Bets again and tries her best to be positive, offering her croissant. Bets politely declines and gives Lacey only 3 stars. Upset, Lacey contacts Davis again, who advises her not to overextend herself to please everyone, as high raters can sense insincerity and don't respect such behavior. He suggests she be herself and perform genuine acts, then abruptly ends the call before Lacey can ask another question. After some thought, Lacey takes a photo of her old toy, Mr. Rags, which she made as a child with her friend Naomi, and posts it on her profile. Naomi, who has a 4.8 rating and whom Lacey hasn't spoken to in a long time, immediately reacts with a 5-star rating. That evening, Lacey cooks a strange dish from an internet recipe and accidentally stains her shirt. Suddenly, Naomi video calls her. Panicking, Lacey looks for something to cover the stain, then puts on a casual face and answers the call. The former friends express their happiness to see each other. Naomi shares that she is getting married soon and shows off her stunning engagement ring. She says the wedding will take place at the groom's family estate and that she wants Lacey to be a bridesmaid. Lacey can't believe it, as Naomi now socializes exclusively with a high-rating crowd. Naomi explains that seeing the toy photo reminded her of their childhood, and she decided her old friend must be at her wedding. She asks Lacey to prepare a speech and promises to send the guest list and bridesmaid dress. Lacey is overjoyed, as she now has a chance to get many good ratings from high-rated people. Ryan doesn't share his sister's excitement, reminding her that Naomi always treated her poorly, but Lacey insists it wasn't like that. The next day, Lacey meets with Davis again, showing him the guest list. Davis says this event will surely boost her rating. Lacey then contacts the realtor and informs them she is ready to make the first payment for the house, confident her rating will soon reach the necessary 4.5 for the discount.
That's fantastic!
A month later, Lacey is packing her things and rehearsing her emotional speech one last time in front of her brother. Ryan remarks that the speech sounds too forced and sugary, but Lacey is convinced everyone will love it, and she'll get her well-deserved 5-star ratings. Meanwhile, the taxi is waiting outside, but due to the argument with Ryan, Lacey is delayed. The taxi driver eventually leaves and gives her a low rating. Lacey blames her brother for the drop in her rating, while he says he misses the old Lacey who wasn't obsessed with ratings. He asks if she can get a refund on the house deposit if things don't work out, but Lacey irritably tells him to stay out of her business. They exchange poor ratings as a goodbye, and Lacey leaves the house. Outside, she accidentally bumps into a woman with a 4.8 rating, spilling her coffee. Lacey apologizes, but the woman still gives her a 1-star rating. Finally, Lacey gets into a new taxi and heads to the airport. Soon, Naomi calls, and Lacey greets her with excited joy. The friends discuss their upcoming reunion, and Naomi asks Lacey not to mention too many details from their personal lives in her congratulatory speech. The taxi driver is visibly annoyed by Lacey's loud and intrusive conversation and ends up giving her only 1 star, dropping her rating to 4.1. At the airport, Lacey discovers her flight is cancelled, and to get on another one, she needs a 4.2 rating, which she just lost. This situation frustrates Lacey, and she starts arguing with the check-in clerk, demanding to speak with a manager. People in line, watching the scene, give Lacey low ratings, and the clerk calls security due to Lacey's intimidating behavior and profanity. The friendly security guard sanctions Lacey by deducting 1 point for 24 hours, lowering her rating to 3.1. He also puts her on probation, during which any low ratings will be doubled. With a smile, the guard then tells Lacey to leave the airport. Realizing she's already late for the wedding, Lacey decides to rent a car. Unfortunately, due to her low rating, she can only rent the cheapest and oldest vehicle available.
iCruiser 2?
They still have the 2?
Lacey deals with the uncomfortable car and continues rehearsing her speech as she drives. Soon, Naomi calls, worried about Lacey being late and suggesting she might need to find a replacement. Lacey assures her that she will make it, even though she has to drive all night. After a while, Lacey's car runs out of power, and she stops at the nearest charging station, only to find that her old car cannot be charged without an adapter. She asks the station attendant for help, but not only is he unhelpful, he also gives her 2 stars, dropping her rating further. Unable to find an adapter, Lacey realizes her only option is to hitchhike. However, passing drivers refuse to stop due to her now low rating of 2.8. Desperate, Lacey starts walking, but soon a truck pulls over beside her, driven by a woman named Susan, who has a rating of only 1.4. At first, Lacey is hesitant to get in the truck, but eventually, she accepts Susan's offer. Susan notices Lacey browsing through her feed, trying to figure out why her rating is so low, and assures her that she is not dangerous. Susan asks what happened to Lacey, as she doesn't look like someone with a 2.8 rating. Lacey explains that she yelled at the airport staff, and her rating dropped. Susan asks if Lacey enjoyed expressing her true feelings, but Lacey doesn't know how to respond, being too focused on the upcoming wedding and the high ratings for her speech. Susan admits that she used to care a lot about ratings and once had a 4.6. However, 8 years ago, her husband got cancer, and despite her efforts to help him, a spot in an experimental treatment program was given to someone with a 4.4 rating instead of her husband, who had a 4.3. That was when she decided that chasing ratings was pointless and chose to live authentically without trying to please everyone. Susan suggests that Lacey do the same, but Lacey insists that she needs to achieve something in life first, and that's impossible without a high rating. Lacey then comments that Susan is already too old and has nothing to lose, but quickly backtracks, saying she didn't mean it that way.
Don't worry, I'm not voting you down.
Soon, Lacey falls asleep in the back seat, and early in the morning, Susan wakes her up as she has to head in a different direction. Susan drops Lacey off at a bus stop and mentions that she put something in her suitcase in case Lacey decides she wants to relax. Lacey thanks Susan for her help, then checks her suitcase and finds a thermos filled with whiskey. She heads to the restroom, rehearsing her speech again, when she overhears a conversation between two cosplay girls who are heading in the direction she needs to go. Lacey finds information about the event they're attending and pretends she is also in a rush to get there. The girls agree to give her a ride in their van. Shortly after, Naomi calls and tells Lacey she doesn't want someone with a 2.6 rating at her wedding. Lacey begs to be allowed to give her speech, but Naomi harshly responds that she doesn't want to be embarrassed in front of her guests. Lacey can't understand why Naomi is acting this way since she invited her, wanting her childhood friend at the wedding. Naomi admits that reconnecting with Lacey was supposed to boost her rating, but now Lacey will only bring it down. Lacey can't believe Naomi only cared about the numbers, but Naomi reminds her that Lacey also wanted to raise her rating through her guests. Despite everything, Lacey declares she will still come to the wedding and give her speech, no matter what Naomi says. The conversation with her so-called friend infuriates Lacey. She stops holding back and tells the cosplayers she knows nothing about their show. They kick her out in the middle of the road, and Lacey decides to drink the whiskey Susan left her. Fueled by frustration and alcohol, she runs into the road to stop the next car. Of course, nobody wants to deal with a somewhat unstable girl with a low rating, but in the end, she manages to borrow a four-wheeled motorcycle from a guy. Meanwhile, the wedding ceremony is in full swing, and all the guests are continuously giving the newlyweds top marks. Lacey arrives at the estate but finds out they only allow entry with a rating of at least 3.8. So, she decides to sneak into the ceremony another way and accidentally falls into a huge mud puddle on the way. Lacey changes into the bridesmaid's dress, all dirty with smeared makeup and messy hair, and shows up at the wedding. She finally delivers her speech, which, of course, is far from what she had prepared. Shocked guests rate Lacey with only 1 star, and her rating drops below 1. She continues to tell the truth about her relationship with Naomi but also claims that she has always dreamed of being like her successful and beautiful friend. When the groom and guests try to take her away, she grabs a knife and starts threatening them, but suddenly, at that moment, security approaches her and forcefully escorts her out of the event, then delivers her to the police. There, they remove the eye sensors that allowed her to read information about others, and they lock her up in a cell. Soon, she notices a man in the cell opposite hers and out of habit, she wants to know his rating, but she can't see it anymore. Lacey asks why he's staring at her, and the man declares that he doesn't like her and can do whatever he wants anyway. They start cleverly insulting each other, and eventually, they both feel joy from the long-awaited freedom.